Hello everybody, I hope you are fine. This is novel grade 4. White Sargasso Sea theme of racism. Racism means discrimination among people according to the colors of their complexion. In other words, we distinguish between people if they black or white. Black people receive ill treatment while white people receive good treatment. This constitutes or this forms a case of inequality and social injustice. It's based on Charles Darwin's theory of the origin of species. يعني ده متأثر بنظرية تشارلز داروين أصل الأجناس, which holds that man is a descendant of an ape, يعني الإنسان أصله قرد, and that the white man is more developed virgin than the black person both in body and intellect. يعني طبقا لنظرية داروين أن الشخص الأبيض متميز ومتطور عن الشخص الأسمر في الجسد وفي العقل. This claim was adopted as a justification of the European colonial projects. يعني الأوروبيين استغلوا النظرية دي عشان يبرروا الاستعمار, as is seen in the concept of the white man's burden. The phrase the white man's burden appears for the first time in a British poem explaining that the white soldier goes into the East or the Orient not to colonize those people or to occupy the lands of those people, but to spread civilization. That's why he is leaving his country in order to go on a civilizing mission for those undeveloped, uncivilized people. This is a kind of burden, not for financial or economic opportunity. The theme of racism or the issue of racism is a prominent theme in White Sargasso Sea. Antoinette and her family had been slave owners up until the Slavery Abolition Act in 1833, and subsequently they lost their wealth. Although the Emancipation Act has freed the slaves, by the time of Antoinette's childhood, compensation hasn't been granted. The British government promised the people to give them money instead of their lost fortune, but this did not happen. This breed or resulted in hostility, enmity, hatred, and resentment between servants and their white employers. The ex-slaves or the black people called the white nigger as an expression of their current poverty and despising them. Whenever Annette, the mother, takes a ride on her horse, the townspeople gather in groups to jeer at her, to satirize her, to mock her, to insult her, especially after her riding clothes grew shabby or old. Later, they killed the horse to put an end to her riding trips. One day, a Caribbean black girl followed Antoinette, the young protagonist, singing, "Go away, white cockroach, go away, nobody wants you." The beautiful garden in the Big Mason, which is compared to the biblical garden at the beginning, turns wild because all the ex-slaves left the plantation and the mason. Further, the slaves gather and burn the house of the family, killing the young disabled child Pierre, leading to the insanity of the mother and the departure of the family after the separation of the members. The writer exposes the culture of the black people, which is distinct from the culture of the white people. The ex-slaves insisted to burn the whole house, but when they saw a parrot flying and then falling on fire, they all retreat or go back, because it's a bad omen according to their beliefs. They respect and avoid Christophine for her knowledge in witchcraft. Rochester, the Englishman, looks down upon Antoinette or feels she is his inferior because she is a Creole. Antoinette is not English, yet her family history privileges her as a white woman. The ex-slaves who worked on the sugar plantations of wealthy Creole figures prominently in part 1 of the novel, which is set in the West Indies in the early 19th century. Annette feels helplessly imprisoned at Culpeper State after the death of her husband, repeating the word marooned over and over again, meaning she becomes helpless. She attempted or tried to do all the possible means to succeed, but she couldn't. Whites born in England are distinguished from the white Creoles, descendants of Europeans who have lived in the West Indies for one or more generations. Further complicating the social structure is the population of black ex-slaves who maintain their own kinds of stratification or class division. Christophine, for instance, stands apart from other Jamaican servants because she is originally from the French Caribbean island of Martinique. Further, there is large mixed race population, as white slave owners throughout the Caribbean and the Americas were famous for raping and impregnating female slaves. Sandy and Danielle Causeway, two of Alexander Causeway's illegitimate children, both occupy this middle ground between black and white society. Let's look at the characters of the novel. Let's start by the character of Christophine. Christophine is supposed to be the surrogate mother of Antoinette, the young protagonist. Christophine introduces Antoinette to the black culture of the Caribbean and instills in her, غرزت فيها, a sensitivity to nature and belief in the practices of obi, a kind of witchcraft or magic, practicing magic. Significantly, it's Christophine's voice that opens the novel as she explains Annette's exclusion from Spanish town society. Christophine is the voice of authority, the one who explains the world to Antoinette and explains Antoinette to the readers. With her words bleeding from French patois to Jamaican dialect and back into English, her command of language corresponds with the power of her words and her ability to invoke magic. She seems omniscient. Christophine is an outsider. Coming from Martinique, she dresses and speaks differently from the Jamaican blacks. She is a servant, but unlike the other black servants who live at Culpeper, she remains loyal to the Causeway women, whom, when the family fortunes dwindle. Christophine still commands some household respect because of her knowledge of magic. Christophine was a wedding present from the old Mr. Causeway to Annette, the mother. She provides a contrast to Annette in that she exercises complete independence from men and implicitly distrusts their motives. When Mr. Rochester arrives at Grand Boys, he immediately senses Christophine's contempt. Christophine adopts an increasingly assertive role in protecting Antoinette when Rochester begins to challenge his wife's sanity. Ultimately, Christophine advises Antoinette to leave her husband. Having had 3 children by 3 different fathers, Christophine remains unmarried, saying, I thank my God, I keep my money, I don't give it to no worthless man. Christophine's final confrontation with Rochester establishes her as Antoinette's spokeswoman. Although Christophine is a servant, yet her character plays a central role in the novel. Now, let's watch again part 1 of the movie in order to see how far we have many examples of racial discrimination and how far there is a considerable amount of hatred between the black and the white in the Colibris society. Let's follow the film and later comment on racism again. Follow the film.
By then life had become very bleak for the Casaways, my family. Our plantation was ruined by the emancipation of the slaves, and my father, desperate, drank himself to death. We were alone at Colibri, my mother, my little brother, and me. Christophine was the only one who stayed with us. She was our protector, for she knew Obia, and the blacks feared her magic even more than they hated us. Colibri had been large and beautiful, as that garden in the Bible. But no one looked after it anymore, and it had gone wild.
Ow! Me Blackbeard now, and you my slave. Come on. Why not you be the stage? Because pirates are white, silly.
My mother knew there was one last hope. She married a rich Englishman, Mr. Mason, who had just arrived in Jamaica and knew nothing about her.
You get the most spectacular apple orchard.
Apples?
Oh, do you remember last week's Yes.
Obviously, her only woman, Christophine, must have cast a spell on her.
A man of his age allowed himself to be seduced by a woman like her.
How anyone in their life might.
The English matrons hated my mother's Frenchness and her irrepressible beauty. But Mr. Mason was...
Thank you, Mother.
But you know I use the straw. It's all an invention and it's making me dizzy. Who likes it?
Do you know who I am? Everyone around here knows.
Yes. Come. Quickly.
What you want from me, Danielle?
What is rightfully mine?
I give you money. Not because I did.
How much you want?
Just give me time.
What are you doing here? I see you here again. You're going to be sorry.
talk to him, he'd poison your mind.
Mira. She let him in like a spider that night.
He will always be around.
One, two, three in the fields. Snake by itself.
All three of you?
Big snake.
I'm bringing in some coolies from the East Indies. They'll soon lick this place into shape.
I wouldn't discuss that in front of the servants if I were you.
I've told them 100 times.
The people here don't want to work, so why should they care? Oh, just look at this place. It's enough to break your heart.
It's dangerous to stay here any longer. I see the signs. You don't know these people.
They're children. They wouldn't hurt a fly.
What happened? Your children do hurt flies.
Don't you see them watching us? Asking the servants what we eat every day.
They're curious, that's all. They're too damn lazy to be dangerous.
You are lying when you are lazy or not. And they can be dangerous and cruel for reasons you wouldn't understand.
No, I don't understand. Now, you're the widow of a slave owner, here on your own for years, and they never harmed a hair on your head. Go away for a change, Nettie, by all means. We'll go.
Antoinette, come here. Don't forget to kiss your stepfather goodnight. He's very hurt that you never kiss him.
Yeah, the looks hurt.
He's told me he's very fond of you. Perhaps one day he'll take you to England.
I wonder where they've all gone. Must be one of those dances on.
Beat your drums if there was a dance.
Probably a wedding then. Any excuse not to work.
Afterwards I understood, but not then. In front of the servants he had said he would bring in coolies to replace all the workers. My stepfather knew nothing of the old hatred between our family and the former slaves.
told you over and over, but you sneered at me, you grinning fool. Why don't you go out there and tell them to let you go? Say how innocent you are, that I was a slave owner. Tell them how you've always brought me dead.
They're dead! For God's sake! The whole house is burning!
I'm dead. Stay close to me.
What does she want? Her jewels?
A damn parrot!
Annette, they're laughing at you. Don't let them laugh at you.
Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Let us through.
The little boy will die if we don't get help.
That way. They burn the same, eh?
Here and hereafter, as you will in your turn.
Bad luck on me. And I cut it out your mouth, you old white jumbin.
Everyone into the carriage, for God's sake!
After Pierre died in the fire, my mother went mad with grief. Mr. Mason hired a man to look after her. Then he went back to England and forgot her. As we have seen in this first part of the film, Antoinette's childhood, while she was the narrator of the first part, she narrates to us her very bitter experience of the hatred, the racial hatred between the white and the black ex-slaves. Out of their hatred, the slaves put on the whole house on fire, killing the young Pierre. They insisted to kill all the members of the family, but they returned when they saw the small parrot on fire, because in their culture this is a bad omen that will bring bad luck and misfortune upon them. That's why they leave the rest of the members of the family to leave. We have seen also other examples of racial hatred, that they killed the horse of Antoinette. The young black girl orders Antoinette as a child to be her slave, calling her white cockroach. People at Colibri call Annette, the mother, and her children or her family white niggers. These are various examples of racial hatred among people, which results of discrimination practiced
to distinguish between people. Also, in this lecture, we have seen the important role of Christophine, the servants, how far she is respected and avoided by the townspeople due to her knowledge of practicing magic. That's why she is the one who rescues the family or the mother from the slaves in various situations. So in this lecture we have discussed the character of Christophine in addition to a revision and addition to the theme of racism. Thank you for being patient with me for today, and see you next lecture inshallah. Goodbye.